Tonight, SEIPO is proud to be here in Albion, Idaho. We're at the former Idaho Normal School, the first major college here in Idaho. And although it looks like school might be out of session, rumor has it that there might be some people around here that still believe school is in session. And we're going to find out for you tonight. So tonight, join us here in Albion, Idaho as we investigate the original Idaho Normal School.
One of the neat things about the campus is it's been a training college for children, and when we came up here, we kind of had this feeling like, hey, this is kind of a unique place. And when we were during the auction of this place, there were a lot of people talking to us about all the neat things that could be happening here, and that they've prayed for this place to come back alive, and there's a lot of neat things that they were talking about wanting to happen. Well, in the process of visiting with some of the people that had come to the Christian college, they mentioned to us when they first opened it back up after the Idaho State Normal School closed down, which actually became the Idaho State College of Teachers and Education or something like that. But when they opened it up, they came in, and the buildings had been closed for a number of years, but they walked in, for instance, up in the library, and nobody had been in there for years, but yet there were books that were open, pencils out, lessons that had gone on, all kinds of stuff that were going on. They called it Twilight Zone-ish is what they talked about. It's how they thought it was really crazy how that went on. In this building right behind us, Comish Hall, when they came here, they walked downstairs, there were table settings that were all set, and it looked like people had been sitting down getting ready for dinner, and they mentioned that was really kind of a creepy situation, and felt like there was somebody here that was still trying to keep the college moving forward.
As you come around the corner and you see Albion Normal School, you are so impressed by the massive size of the buildings. It's kind of out and a little bit out of the way, and so you aren't expecting these giant buildings to be there as you turn the corner. I really enjoyed getting to go into the buildings and to investigate. They weren't what I expected when I first got there, and it was fun to be able to wander around and go inside those buildings.
So if there was ever a stereotypical haunted location, Albion Normal School would be it. Albion Normal School are these massive buildings in this little tiny town just outside of Burley. When you go into these buildings, they're old, they're falling apart, there's graffiti all over the walls, there's no light inside, all the windows are boarded up, and it just seems like you're in some type of a haunted insane asylum.
You know, the group as a whole, I noticed, was very anxious to get out there and investigate Albion. Very professional. We didn't go out and, try to create anything. We just kind of looked at each other like, and didn't speak to each other until we both kind of looked at each other like, did you feel that? What was going on? It's very nice to see that people are taking this very serious. They're really scrutinizing the film footage, the EVPs, You know, all of us get a chance to listen to them. I do appreciate that fact. It's just not one person's opinion. We all get together and find out what's going on, and to see if that's what everybody heard. One of the things that I like is how we go about investigating. We go out and send groups out, not just, you know, everybody out at one time. We'll have everybody in the base camp, and then we'll send out 2 girls and a guy, 2 guys and a girl, you know, or all guys or all girls, to be able to see if that different mix, I don't want to say provoke, but gets the apparitions or the EVPs going a little bit more.
The second floor was my favorite part of the building. I went upstairs with Lisa and another investigator, and we investigated each girl's dorm room. While walking farther down the hall, I got this overwhelming feeling of something behind me. I felt like I should be closer to Lisa and the other investigator, but I couldn't keep up with them because I was filming and didn't want to shake the camera. As we got farther down the hallway and investigating each room, I finally told Lisa that I had an overwhelming feeling that there was something behind me, or I was creeping myself out, which happens. After reviewing film, we noticed that there were orbs following us down the hallway, that exact hall.
Allison felt as if something was right behind her, that we were being followed, and so she was kind of pushing us along and hurrying us into each of the rooms that we were doing our EVP sessions in. Later on, when we were reviewing evidence, we noticed that there is a light that appears kind of out of nowhere and follows us down the hallway. You can see us turn the corner and disappear, and then the light follows that path. And then you see us later on return. And it was at the same time that Allison was having those feelings and didn't want to be in the hallway. She felt as if something was following us. If you guys feel anything as we're walking around, just you can stop. I can kind of feel like, I don't know.
I don't know what I feel either.
Like it feels like a breeze or something a little bit. But I don't know if it's an actual breeze, like if the air is cooler or if there's something else. These are the stairs we thought we could hear people walking up. Let's go here. Are you here in this bathroom? You have bad memories here. Did you see that?
No. What'd you say?
It just might have been a turn too fast or something. I don't know. Saw a shadow, but I don't know what it was. Why don't you want to talk to us? I just don't feel anything like at all whatsoever. Like, I mean, I feel like I could walk right up here by myself. And not
Really? I can't. I don't know what it is.
Bye.
I don't feel like, I don't know. I think it's just because it's dark.
Yeah.
I think I'm creeping myself out. Does that make sense?
What are you feeling?
Just creeped out. Just not like, I don't know.
The light that follows the women upstairs was really interesting. Colleen and I were downstairs watching the DVR system, and I seen that light on the screen and asked Colleen, I said, do you see that? She says, I'm sure it's one of the investigators, and you know, we kind of got into a little mini argument about it, that she thought it was investigators, but I knew they were around the corner somewhere. There was no reflection off the walls. It just didn't quite look like a flashlight to me. It caught my eye immediately, and I'm glad we ended up getting some really solid evidence there.
But you know, one of the weirdest was the feelings of being there. It wasn't like, you know, go away feeling, you know, I don't want you here. It just like, you know, felt like they were being, whoever was watching us was very curious. Kind of hovering around, wanted to find out maybe what we were doing there. That's kind of what I felt when I was up there on the second floor. Didn't really feel anything in the basement, not whatsoever.
On the third floor of Albion College in the women's dormitory, in my previous investigations, there had really not been a lot of activity up there other than bats attacking you. However, when we were up there with Allison, Scott, and I, Scott came around a corner into a room and immediately saw something. I tried to get the camera in there as quick as I possibly could. I didn't see anything initially, but I know Scott's seen something. He flipped out pretty good, and he definitely seen something.
Down the exact same hallway that the girls had a light follow them, I had an experience with Eric and Allison. We had gone up to the third floor to do some investigation. We were getting low on time. We decided to start taking pictures, just going through some rooms. As Eric, Allison, and I approached a particular doorway, I know that I saw a shadow figure race across the room. It really startled me, and I think it also startled the other two as well.
It does feel a little tense up here.
It does, just a little.
Shadow! Right here! Right here! Just a second!
It's going. A second. It went right across here.
How tall? Okay, you see my camera shadow? Sorry.
Okay, there's a door right here.
Okay. Whoa, that's a soft spot on the floor.
Yeah, be careful. It actually went this way, but...
Hey, Scott, when you get home and look at your shirt, you're gonna see a big Eric-sized handprint on the side, on the back of you. That's from me.
Not quite sure what to think.
Well, you know, I was looking at all this right as you said that, and I was wondering, you know, about this falling.
It was a full shadow.
Okay.
So when you see that, do we shine our, well, you turned, your light went on it, and I immediately
Yeah,
turned
I
my
was-
light
And
on.
I tried to get the camera in there as
Yeah,
quick
I
as
was
I
like
could.
sitting there, go, okay, take
Yeah.
a picture, take a picture. When I saw the shadow figure, I knew I had to go in the room. And so I grabbed the other two because we don't like to go into places alone. We went in and we didn't find anything. But what was interesting is at that exact moment that we were having our experience, a really cool orb shows up downstairs, and it almost seems like it comes from the floor we were on and floats down to that first floor and just kind of floats by our camera. When I saw that orb, it really was incredible. We had seen a lot of reflections of dust particles that night, but we really only caught that type of orb twice, and both were associated with other paranormal experiences that we had that night.
At the same time that Scott, Allison, and I seen something up there in the second floor is when we caught that orb one floor below at the exact same moment, and that was one of the most amazing things I have ever seen in the way of orbs. Could not explain it at all.
Later on that night, we were watching the DVR cameras. There was a group of investigators on the second floor, and we suddenly hear them begin to run and make a lot of noise upstairs. As we're watching the cameras, we see a ball of light seem to appear out of nowhere and come towards the camera flashing. The thing that I think is most impressive is that it seems to stop and pause and look at the camera before disappearing out of sight. Was it looking at the camera? I don't know. But it didn't have a rhythm to it. It wasn't something that had a pattern to it. It seemed to be completely random in what it did.
One of the most interesting things that I thought at Albion was when we saw the flashing orb. It looks as if it comes out of nowhere and then stops and looks at the camera. The thing that was kind of fascinating to me too was that at the same time, the investigators on the upper floor had seen something and were chasing it, and it almost appears as if it's coming from the stairwell and coming down and straight towards the camera. I was sitting down watching the camera as it happened and thought it was really neat and definitely something that we needed to review.
I later on that night went upstairs with Scott and Eric. Something about the second floor drew me up there. I wanted to go back, so I decided to go up there with the guys instead of the girls this time. While walking down the hallway, Scott actually saw a shadow, and as he stumbled and Eric's trying to get film at the exact same time, one of the cameras downstairs actually caught what we say is an orb coming down the stairs at that exact time, and we never saw the shadow again. We then again attempted to go down the other hall where Lisa and I had been, where the strong feeling that I had something following me, and at that time the bats wouldn't let us down that hallway. There was one particular room that we tried to go in, and the bats would not let us in at all. In fact, Eric tried to reach around the corner to take a picture with just his hand, and the bats darted at him so much that he couldn't even get a picture down that hallway.
All right, while we were upstairs, just after we had seen, or Scott seen a shadow in one of the rooms, I wanted to continue on down the hall. A lot of the investigators that night had gotten really creeped out in that hallway, and I was just really curious what was at the end of that hall. However, the bats had other ideas. They really didn't want us down there. They were swooping us pretty good, and Allison ended up telling me it was probably time to wrap it up and head back downstairs before I got attacked by a bat.
Keep on moving that pack. Oh, you little sucker. You're gonna get some funky pictures on me dodging bats. Okay. Oh, shoot.
It's okay, we can go the other way.
What is he hiding from us down there?
He doesn't like us down there.
Well, I like him down there.
He has been flying in and out of the same room the whole time.
He's got a nest or something. I got it. Let's get a picture.
Really?
Or not. I'm just going to sit down on the floor and let them fly over me.
Hurry!
Oh, take the picture. All right.
Okay.
We were making the decision whether or not to leave for the evening when we all, I think it was John and I believe Jeff, were upstairs. We went up to the second story or the third story, however it's laid out, to investigate one final time. And that was interesting. We had a lot of noises, a lot of sensations of movement. At one point I thought I heard a growl. Later on during the listening to the evidence, I think it was more of a squeak. At the time I was convinced it was a growl. I guess it wasn't. But at the time I just remember the sensation of being almost afraid. And I've done this for quite a while and usually don't get afraid. But that hallway, there was a feeling to it that wasn't very comfortable. And I was pretty happy to get out of there at that point.
So while we were investigating the west side of the building on the second floor, there was a room where we believed that we heard a squeak or a noise come out. And we went into the room because it almost sounded as if somebody or something was in there. The room was small, there was nothing in there. I guess it's possible the floor was creaking or the house was settling, but it really was odd and out of place. It just so happened to also be the same room where we believed that the light came out of, which was following our female investigators. So it was definitely an area where activity seemed to be occurring.
My impression of Albion College is it never disappoints. There is always something going on there. It lives up to the hype. There are so many wives' tales about so many locations, and the first time I went into Albion, I wanted to see if it was all wives' tales or if, in fact, it was haunted. And in the 3 times I've been in there, it's just never disappointed. I think some of the legends are overblown, but there are definitely things happening out there. I would love to investigate Albion College again if we ever got another opportunity.
My final impressions of Albion are that the buildings are incredible. It's like being on a Hollywood movie set. They just have a creepy feel to them. And the walls are covered with graffiti. You just expect Freddy Krueger to jump out at any corner.
Well, one of the individuals that has been maintaining the grounds for a lot of years, he grew up here. His name's K. Powell. He has a number of stories that he's told us, but one of them that stands out in my mind right now is he actually has been maintaining the grounds for free for years, so he's up here quite often, early in the morning, late at night. And of course that's not the case anymore because he's in his mid-70s? Mid-70s now. But along one of these buildings on the back side, they used to have pipes for when you'd have a faucet coming out or whatever coming out of the building, and the buildings are all boarded up. And so he was mowing the lawn, and as he was driving by one of the buildings, right up close to the building, out pops one of the pipes. And it shoots right out, and he thought, well, that one of the kids trying to play a prank on him. So he ran to the front of the building. The doors are locked, so he inspected the whole building, and he had a really kind of a strange feeling like there was a presence there, but never did find anybody. And he went and checked the pipe that had been thrust out at him, and the pipe was secured as tight as it could be, so there was no way to pull it back in or push it back out. So he's certain there was there was some type of paranormal type activity going on there, and he talks about that fairly regularly.